Hi, RAM fans. This is Miley Martin from Student Activities at Fresno City College. And RAM 30 is all about meeting inspirational Fresno City College alumni and community members to hear their story of success. Today, we are meeting an FCC alum and a mental health advocate and recent graduate of mental health, I guess. Please welcome Vanessa Cabrera. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello, how are you, Miley?
So good to see you.
You as
We go
well.
back we go way back to your beginnings at Fresno City College as a student aide, I believe. Did you start in our
Yes,
department? Mm-hmm.
yes. I started fall 2008.
Oh, it was 2008. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about kind of how your beginnings at Fresno City College has helped you to guide you on this journey of educational success, personal growth, and just talk about your college experience. You're a first generation student,
Yes,
correct?
I am. Yes.
And just tell us kind of how your path at Fresno City College has brought you to where you are today.
So, thank you for the opportunity and allowing
Yeah.
me to have this space. Um, So I started fall 2008 at Fresno City, and like you mentioned, I'm a first generation student. So it was really nerve-wracking. I didn't really have a blueprint. My parents, they graduated from high school, but I consider myself first generation because I was actually born here. My parents were born in Mexico. And so my parents went to high school here, but they didn't continue on to college. And so when I started college, I have my uncle Tomas, and he helped me with financial aid and he helped me with the application. But other than that, it was just nerve-wracking. I had nowhere to go. I was like, what do I do? This campus, it's such a beautiful campus. But talking to the counselors there and yeah, I'm trying to just think back of all the wonderful memories that I have at Fresno City College, and who it's really family. Really is family, because I mean, I'm still talking to you. Here we are, how many years is it? 12 years later.
It's
And so you've
amazing.
seen me from the beginning. You've seen me in this transformation.
Hmm. A lot of personal challenges, a lot of educational challenges. I mean, I've seen you grow, of course, through this 12-year span. How did you get past some of the challenges that you've gone through?
So definitely, I had such a great support network at Fresno City College. I'm going to name drop more than a few names, but yourself, Sean Henderson, Janice Wong, Valerie DePinto. Um, I was also an EOPS student, and I loved that program. Jaime Duran, Sonia Lupian, Ernie Garcia, Mark McNiff, Pauline Fuller, all that staff over there at EOPS was great, and they were so helpful. Everybody was just so helpful and excited for me to ask them questions, and they were very open and welcoming to any questions that I had, and if I needed any questions or had any questions about resources on campus, such as going to the computer lab or the tutoring center. Everybody there is just really helpful and wanting you to achieve your academic goals.
So, what did Fresno City College, your time at Fresno City College, teach you about yourself, Vanessa?
Oh my goodness. That I am resilient.
Yes.
Definitely, being a first generation student comes with frustration and being overwhelmed with navigating college, as a first generation student. I'm sure there are a lot of students that may feel the same way that I do. And so when I was working at Fresno City College as a student aide and getting to know all of these different people and all of these just different avenues of Fresno City College really inspired me to work towards the goal of, what, one day I want to work there. I want to
Hmm.
be able to help other students that are in my position as well. And so, yeah, definitely being at Fresno City has taught me to be resilient and that I am resilient.
So you mentioned the challenges of being a first generation student. What specifically makes it more difficult? Is it because your parents can't guide you because they didn't go to college? Or what specifically do you feel that are the challenges that first generation students face at Fresno City College or any college?
So for me in particular, I identify with the Latinx community. And so, coming from a family that's very traditional and conservative in gender roles, it not that it was ingrained, but it wasn't really pushed onto me of, hey, you need to go to college. And so, not feeling supported like I could actually succeed in going to college and obtaining a degree or a few degrees now. um, that was very difficult. I'm trying to think of what else. Trying to learn that I don't have to be submissive, right? And getting over that, and really learning from these women, because up until then I had never met um, other women, other Latinx women that held master's degrees. And so for me, that was like, I was in shock and awe, like, wow, representation really does matter.
Mhm. So where along your journey did you say to yourself, "Wow, I'm going to get my bachelor's," and I'm sure once you finish your bachelor's, maybe it was a role model or a mentor put it in your mind, like you just said, "Gosh, I should get my master's." I mean, where along the journey, I mean, when you left Fresno City College, were you on your path or were you still nurturing ideas of where you wanted to go?
So I so I worked at Fresno City College as a student aide in student activities. Got to meet so many wonderful people and in different programs as well. But I also interned for my associate's degree in social work. I interned under Sonia Lupian at the EOPS office. Once there and graduating, I actually started working at the State Center Community College Foundation office with Gurdeep Sahota, a
That's
bear.
right.
And, so once I was there, I worked there, and then transferring to Fresno State, graduated there, and I started working at Clovis Community College as an orientation assistant. And once I was there, I started really working the matriculation process with the Clovis Unified High Schools. And through there, working alongside the college counselors, I was like, wow, I want to do that. I want to be able to help students, even if they're not like myself, but if they're wanting to go to community college, because I had such a great experience at community college and I hold Fresno City so near and dear to my heart. I'm a proud alumni. But yeah, so I just felt like, wow, I really enjoyed doing it, and it didn't feel like work. It was, I had this passion to just help others. And so I started asking around, and it was really Gurdeep that was like, you should probably, apply. And also David Navarro, he
Hmm.
was like, just do it. Um, Willie Gomez, actually, and he probably doesn't even remember me, but this was a pivotal moment for me. I was at Clovis East High School, and I was pulling students out to help them either, finish their application or help with financial aid. And Willie was there, but he was at the CSU Fresno side of it. And so here I am, I'm working, and he's in graduate school. And so I started talking to him, and he was like, yes, you should apply, you should apply. And so initially I applied for the student affairs and college counseling program because that's what I wanted to do. But while working as an orientation assistant, I was introduced to Colleen. I can't remember her last name, but Colleen, she is a DSPS counselor at Clovis Community College. And so I was like, whoa. So you get to be, a general counselor, but then you also get to help students with disabilities. And so she told me about the clinical rehab program at Fresno State. And so I had applied to the Student Affairs College Counseling Program, and I was accepted, super excited. I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, first generation student, I'm going to graduate school. Like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And then I was like, but I want to help more people. So then I transferred over. I did my interview with Dr. Janelle Pitt, to transfer into the clinical rehab and mental health counseling program. And then once there, Dr. Beckton, my advisor, she said, Vanessa, maybe you should do your LPCC. And I said, what's that? So she said, you know, it's kind of like your MFCC, right? Take a little bit more classes, and, you know, you could do mental health. And I was like, what? So not only with my degree can I work as an academic counselor at a community college if I want, I can also help to serve students with disabilities or persons with disabilities. And then I can also work mental health. Like, yes, for sure. Yeah.
How exciting. So that was that moment that you just, whew, it opened up for you.
Yeah.
How exciting. I can see on your face, you are so passionate and excited. And when you do pick something that you love, you're going to go to work and you're going to love it so much it's not going to feel like work, which you probably know already.
Yes, definitely.
Let's see what I want to. Oh, well, okay, congratulations. But you just had a baby not too long ago and you got married. So how has that added to your plate? I mean, you're a working mom now. You've got a husband to go home to. Your plate is full. How has that changed working, and how are you juggling it all?
So there definitely is a second shift, right?
Yeah.
So we work full time at our regular jobs, and
Uh-huh.
then we go home and we work there at home. There's laundry and cooking and cleaning, and so learning to balance that, but also making sure that I do have time for self-care. Self-care is super important. I'm not sure what you do to partake in self-care, but for me, I like to binge watch mindless reality television. I know it's a guilty pleasure, but you know, yeah, it's very hard balancing all of that. You know, first stepping into the role of being a wife, and what are the expectations, you know, and having that conversation with my husband, like, okay, do we have those traditional gender roles? You know, is it going to be more equal? And then also a stepmother. So my husband has two sons from his previous marriage, and they were 5 and 7 when I met them. Had no experience whatsoever with little boys, but I will tell you, they have so much energy and they eat a lot.
Yes. Yes.
But now with my daughter, I had my daughter in my second to last semester of graduate school. So last fall in December. So she's 8 months old now. And I did have a complicated pregnancy, so that was a little bit scary. Juggling being a full-time student and completing internship, it was a lot. But, you know, my husband and my family were supportive of, like, okay, you're in graduate school now. Get it done, you know, and you know, you're working towards a better future for yourself and for your family. And so, yeah, it's very difficult navigating it, but I do give kudos to, I remember being in the program and seeing these other parents and them having a full-time job and coming to school full-time during night classes. And I'm like, whoa, you guys are really superheroes. How do you do it? You know, how do you balance that? And you just do it. You just do
Well,
it.
gosh, I listen to you and I think, wow, you've got a lot going on and everything just so much going on. Oh my goodness. What advice would you give students? Oh, it could be any students. You know, let's say you're a parent, single parent, you're going to school. You've weathered it. How did you put one foot in front of the other? I mean, that's a lot to get married, to be a stepmom, to have your own child, to be finishing school. How did you do? You just told us, but it's like, what? Did you have a role model? Do you have somebody that you went to? Were you in therapy? I mean, it's like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so definitely reaching out to my support network. You know, my husband works full time as well. And so juggling, you know, my daughter one day going to my godmother's house for her to take care of her while I get internship done. Juggling her going to another, friend's house, for any daycare and stuff like that. So definitely reaching out and not feeling ashamed or embarrassed of asking for help, because we're all put in situations sometimes where we need help. And it's like I said, coming from the Latinx background, there's a lot of pride and ego. And I just remember someone telling me, it's not a hand out, it's a hand up, and it's very important to surround yourself with people that that you can trust and that really want what's best for you, and they have the best intentions for you. I have a couple of colleagues and my girlfriends now. I met them in the program, and once a month we try to get together, given COVID, right? Social distancing and everything.
On Zoom.
Yes. No, we really did. We spent about 2 hours chit-chatting on Zoom because we miss each other that much and we have so much to talk about. And so, surrounding yourself with people that want the best intentions for you. And again, going to therapy, exactly like you said. Yes, I do go to therapy. Therapists go to therapy. We have to deal with whatever is brought to us, and we also have to let it out and find the best outlet that we can, a healthy outlet to decompress from everything, especially with COVID going on. Depression and anxiety are on the rise, and
Yes.
so we need to set the models for our clients as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw a quote by Dumbledore from Harry Potter, and he said in the movie, or in the book, I should say, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if we only remember to turn on the light. So that's a good one. Sometimes we can go down a path, but we can always turn that light on. And they always say all your answers are within you. You just have to find them, look at them, right?
Yeah.
So you're a busy working mom. What are your goals for the future? Because are you working right now? Are you going to be looking for a job?
So I was actually offered a position at my internship site at LiveWell Behavioral Health Counseling Center.
Awesome.
I love it here. The clinical director is African American. A couple of other clinicians are African American, Latinx. We have a few male clinicians coming on, and so it's great. We're able to help low-income populations to get through whatever it is that they're going through, because people go to counseling when things get tough.
Sure.
And so being able to provide those services to those clients, is my light of what helps me to get through whatever I'm going through. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, Vanessa, your daughter is 8 months old. What hopes do you have for your daughter?
The hopes that I have for my daughter.
Educationally,
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure you've thought about this. We're kind of in a crazy world right now, but what hopes do you have for your daughter?
So I already know I'm setting that example for her, right? Like I mentioned before, I never really knew Latinx women that carried a master's degree. And so now my daughter will have a mother that has a master's degree. And earlier you asked about goals. And so one of my goals for the future is in about 10 to 15 years, once I'm a seasoned clinician, I actually want to go back to get a PhD in sociology. Sociology is my undergraduate, and I just love it. And so I would love to teach sociology, but also, having that doctor right there in front of my name would be nice. But the hopes for my daughter is that she sees that she's surrounded by so much love and support, and just having educated women and men, be around her. And to encourage her, right?
Yes, how exciting. That's beautiful. What message do you have for students today that are struggling right now with virtual learning? What message do you have for them?
Oh, I would honestly say really reach out to your peers, and let them know, like, because sometimes peers are struggling with the same issues. Someone the other day, I had a client the other day that was talking to me about being a visual learner. And I said, well, there's a difference between visual learning and visual processing disorder. So, if we can possibly maybe get an assessment done, that would be helpful. But definitely, the struggles for students right now with virtual learning, try to take it in chunks, really. Um, not all teachers teach the same. Not all teachers have different teaching styles. Not all the students have the same learning styles. And so we're all adjusting right now to, this pandemic that's going on, and just vocalize with your peers. Maybe they can help you in some sort of way. Vocalize and be verbal with your professors as well. It might feel, intimidating to talk to a teacher, or to send an email and say, hey, I really need you to slow down, or, can you explain something further? And I promise you that professors are not there to try to intentionally fail you. They want you to learn the material and understand the material. And really, like, my experience is that teachers really do take the time. They will take the time and set that time aside for you if you're asking for it. And especially if things happen in our personal life, whether it's a death in the family. Unfortunately, there are so many deaths happening because of this pandemic, but if you don't speak up and let your professor know, then they're not going to know that, maybe you're taking some time to process and to grieve, and, allowing yourself that time. Or let's say you do become infected with COVID-19, really verbalizing with your professor, I'm really not feeling good, and I'm going to go take this test, to see if it's positive or negative for COVID, and just being transparent, because nobody knows what people are going through unless you really say something. We're not mind readers, so I think it's very imperative that people learn to speak up.
Mm-hmm. Well, communication is so important, and I think a lot of times students tend to think they're going to bother their instructor, or they're not significant enough. They may withhold, reaching out for help. So I think you sharing that, communicating that, or your needs, or what's going on in your life, is so important, because we're all dealing with things all the time. Everybody you meet has stuff going on, so it's so true. So as a mental health advocate, and I just love the way you expressed everything just now, what areas of mental health do you plan to focus on? Is there a
So I really,
area,
go ahead.
certain area that you're really passionate about? You said you could work in schools, you could work in private practice. What is your passion with mental health?
So my passion, and I was really not wanting to work with the veteran population, because my husband is a Marine, my little brother is a Marine, and so I feel like the veteran population are a really misunderstood breed. They're a different breed to work with, right? But it's just so rewarding. And also there was a little bit of hesitation for me, because I am a civilian. So I really don't understand what a soldier has been through. But I would really love to train and be certified to work with veterans, because just the suicide rates alone, 22 veterans a day, dying by suicide, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's terrible.
And then, another passion of mine is working with the LGBT plus community. I myself identify as pansexual, and I consider myself an ally. And so, there's a lot of children going into foster care because their parents may have, kicked them out. And so being a person that is able to be accepting and just open, and wanting to help that client get through whatever it is that they're getting through or going through.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So definitely veterans in the LGBT plus community.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we're getting down to where our time is almost up, but is there anything else you'd like to share with students, Vanessa, that can help keep them motivated and focused on their goals?
I would say, never let anybody make you feel like you don't deserve what you want. Whatever makes you happy, that's, positive and healthy for you. Um, it's hard to say, don't be ashamed or embarrassed of not asking for help, but really ask for help. There's so many people out there that are willing and wanting, and yeah.
That's beautiful, Vanessa Cabrera. Thank you so much for being a guest on Ram 30. Everyone stay inspired, and I'm sure I'll see you on campus pretty soon.
Oh,
Thank
yes,
you.
definitely.
So great to
Thank
see you.
you.
Thank you so much.
All right.